Hi, good afternoon, all. How are we doing today?
Good day.
Afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you all for coming and welcome. My name is Mrs. Bullard. This is the Intro to AML and Compliance class. So welcome to everyone. Like I said, my name is Ms. Bullard. I'm your lecturer for this course. We have a 5-week session, 4 weeks of just an overview to anti-money laundering and compliance, governance, and risk. This is a journey. Even though this class is just 5 weeks, we have a full program under the International Compliance Association. So this is a 3-tier class where we start off with introduction, which is just 4 weeks that gives an overview to AML and to compliance. And it just gives you an overview and you make a decision as to whether or not compliance is for me, whether I want to go any further. And if most of you work in the financial services sector, you will know that anti-money laundering training is a requirement. It's a statutory requirement, which means that it's required by law. So this class will be like a step above what you do now in your financial institutions in terms of the annual AML training. The next step is the intermediate section, which is about 10 weeks. And so we dive a little deeper into the intermediate section and learn more about sanctions and tax evasions. And, you know, we go a little further, and that's about 10 weeks. So that's the intermediate part. And then if you're going to go on the full journey, there's the International Compliance Diploma, where it's 9 months of anti-money laundering and 9 months of governance, risk, and compliance. So compliance is a very complex aspect of, you know, your financial services industry. And so a lot of persons, they stop after the overview. So I encourage everybody, you know, not to give up, hang in there. It is a lot of work. It does require a lot of reading, and it requires decision-making. It requires comprehension and then decision-making. And believe it or not, it may sound very remedial, but a lot of persons have difficulties just making decisions. So hang on for the next 4 weeks. And if you feel that, you know, compliance is not for you, I encourage you not to move on and perhaps, you know, stay enrolled in courses and then try to figure out your career path. But if compliance is for you and you're intrigued by the stories, by the participation, by the knowledge, then I encourage you to hang on and go all the way through the journey until you successfully complete the International Compliance Diploma. Okay, so I would have sent an email, and in the email, there would have been 3 attachments. Now, this class is very interactive, so persons are gonna have to talk back to me. You're gonna have to participate. I would have sent an instruction sheet, and we'll go through all that today to make sure that we're all on the same page and everybody is clear. And so I would have sent that instruction sheet, and halfway through the instruction sheet, you should see that networking is important, okay? And so we don't only wanna focus on, you know, just compliance, but we wanna ensure that, you know, you're well-rounded after you leave this class. And so building a network in these days and times are very important. So a part of your participation grade comes from networking. And so we will start with a small introduction, because by the end of this class, we're supposed to be 25 of us. And we're gonna give, you know, persons like an extra 5 minutes to join. I see 18 persons online right now. So I'll start with a small introduction, and then we'll go through the list. Hopefully it's in alphabetical order, and each person will introduce themselves. And just, you know, if you wish to share where you work, you can. It's not mandatory, but just tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us why you joined the class and your expectation of the class. Okay, and so I will start. so everybody is familiar, and then I will call names from the list. Is that good? Y'all out there? Y'all have to talk back to Ms. Bullard.
Yes.
Y'all out there?
Yes,
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 ma'am.
yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Great.
Yes,
Great.
we're here.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm Ms. Bullard. I've been with the Institute for the past 6 years. Primarily my career was with Royal Bank Trust Company, the Life and Key Trust Company. My background is in audit, operations, and compliance. I teach both intro, intermediate, as well as the ICA. I teach the full intro course, the full intermediate course, and then there are 6 lecturers over the 18 months, 9 months each section, with the governance, risk, and compliance in the AML. I also teach customer service, and I teach customer service and marketing, as well as supervisory skills. So Ms. Bullard talks a lot. So, and sometimes she goes south, so you all may have to reel me back in. But this class is interactive. What you do is you read the book and then you come back to class and we have a discussion, okay? But I know the first class and we have to get comfortable with each other, and we'll perhaps read out the book just this first class, and every other class will be a discussion, okay? And most of my story is from Sicily, 1923, is centered around the Royal Bank of Canada and my experience there. So I look forward to having provocative discussions and ensuring that everybody leaves here with more than they came with. Okay, that's my open. At the end of the day, everybody is going to be successful because we work together, we network, and we ensure that everybody achieves the goals that are set. Okay, so that's Ms. Bullard. And any questions so far for Ms. Bullard? Anybody have a question? No questions. No questions?
No questions.
Okay, so we will start with Ms. Knowles, Carrie Mae Knowles. Can you please introduce yourself and let us know why you're here?
Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie Mae Knowles. I'm employed with CIBC First Caribbean. I'm here because, well, I've taken an interest in compliance and I wanted to start kind of divert my career path. And so, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So I have a little bit of it in my current job. I'm able to, partake just a small portion of AML, but I wanted to go a little deeper, dive a little deeper into it because it seems to be an interesting career path, and that's the mode I want to take now. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Okay, welcome, Carrie Mae, and thank you for sharing with us. And so just before we move on to the second person, what I encourage all of my class members to do, especially the ones who are going to go on this full journey, is to join a WhatsApp group. Now, Ms. Bullard, in 50 WhatsApp groups, so it's just for you all, it's for support. They use the WhatsApp group to study together. Normally, for the networking, where you have to attend Toastmasters or Rotary or Kiwanis, they share the meetings and they pair up together. So if you are interested, as we introduce ourselves, can you please put your WhatsApp number in the chat, and hopefully by the end of the class, we'll find an admin who will willingly manage that group and ensure that everybody is at it. Okay, so y'all just let me know right off the top, because Ms. Bullard will say, but Ms. Bullard don't do groups. And anybody here who don't do groups or who's opposed to the WhatsApp group? No? I mean, you could always change your mind. Okay, good, Stephen, go right ahead. So Stephen has sent his number right there. Stephen, would you be interested in being the administrator or no?
I don't mind.
Okay.
I can do it. I'll do it.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. And Stephen, Ms. Bullard has taken favor to all the men, because there's always 50 women and one man. So let's see if you're the only man standing tonight. I hope there are more guys out there that's in the class, but we'll see as we go through the introductions. So thank you very much, Stephen. So just introduce yourself and let us know who you are.
All right, so my name is Steve Mcqueen. I currently work for Fidelity Bank. The reason I'm in this class is because my career path, my passion is compliance. I want to do risk management, and I've finally gotten the time to actually do it. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, very good. Welcome. Welcome, Stephen. And I, I hope you're not disappointed. And by the end of this class, you're going to get a wealth of knowledge and you will be prepared to take on that risk management position. So very good and welcome. Okay, Brittany Clark.
I just have a question, Ms. Bullard.
Go ahead.
If I may, please. This is Carrie May. I just, in reading one of your email notes, I noticed that there was an indication for Toastmasters and those types of groups. So are you, I heard you mention it, are you recommending that we participate? Because I'm in none of those type groups. So I'm just asking.
Correct.
Are you recommending that?
Yes, I am recommending it, and we'll discuss it in a few minutes. Just after the introductions, I'm going to go through all the handouts to make sure everybody is clear.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so I'll give you more information.
Great, thank you.
Okay, are you joining our WhatsApp group? Are you putting your number in the chat?
I will, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Brittany?
Good afternoon. My name is Brittany Clark. I work at Queen's College in accounting. I'm interested in taking this course. Previously, I worked in the bank and I always had an interest in this course, but now I have the time to actually do it. So I'd like to dive in a little deeper and find out if it's really for me.
Okay, great. Okay, welcome, Brittany, and thank you for joining us. Lottie, I can't pronounce these names now. It's bad and Isu is quite all kind of names. So Lottie, I hope I pronounced that correct.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Lottie Aubrey Palumbo. I'm presently employed with the Department of Immigration. I've been in the account section for over 22 years. I decided to take this class, which I've been prolonging for quite some time because I'm presently studying for a CFA. So I think this will help me with my CFA also. And then I also wanted to venture out into the firm. So I'm thinking,
Okay, very good, Lottie. So good. I'll call on Lottie often, but she seems to be all the way up there with at the executive level with a CFA. So very good, Lottie. Thank you for joining us. Bria Roll.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bria Roll. I'm currently employed at Deltec Bank and Trust in the compliance department. I am their administrative officer. The purpose of joining this class is to learn more about compliance, broaden my knowledge of compliance to help me move up the ranks. The ultimate goal is to be an ICA.
Oh, excellent. So you on this journey, Bria?
Till the end, yes.
Yeah, oh, excellent. Very good. And so I always encourage, and we are going to read through this, but I say it 2 or 3 times so they'll stick. Keep your library from the very first class, keep your library from the very first essay that you write. Establish a library if you're going to go all the way through, because I promise you, you're going to need to refer back on those notes. And don't be like Miss Bullitt, keep it in order. You know, I have a lot of persons in my ICA class saying, Ms. Bullitt, you can't send me when I'm recording, or you can't tell me where in the book to find this. So establish a library if you're going to go all the way through, okay? Because you're going to need that when you in the ICA, as well as when you need to make a decision. You normally have to do research, okay? So very good, and thank you for joining us. Satisha.
Good afternoon. My name is Satisha Cummins. I am currently employed at TIG Investments. I expect to gain knowledge, skills, and experience to help me in my career and in life in general.
Okay, very good. Thank you for joining us. Celeste. Is Celeste Mortimer there? Okay, we'll come back to Celeste. Colette Antonio.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tola Antonio. I'm currently employed at IRCA. I've been in the legal system for a while. I recently completed my MBA last year, November, and compliance is always something that I wanted to do. And now some of my objectives this year is actually taking on some of our risk and compliance in the organization. So I need to be able to understand what I'm doing. And I also want to go to the level of ICA. This class is the stepping stone for it. So hopefully I'll be able to go all the way.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And so you want to make sure you join forces with the persons who are going to go all the way. You'll establish that network right away to support each other. Okay, so I may have called this name wrong. I was saying Celeste, but maybe it's Chelsea. Is it Chelsea Mortimer?
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay. Chelsea, work with Miss Bullet. Miss Bullet, it's called all kind of funny names. No.
It's fine.
Yeah. So what with me? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chelsea Mortimer. I'm currently employed at the Central Bank of the Bahamas, and I joined this course to further expand and learn and enhance my knowledge about compliance, risk, and corporate governance.
Okay, great. And thank you so much for joining us. Remember to put your numbers in the chat. Stephen, are you getting all the numbers?
I am.
Okay, and if anybody else, so I normally have like 2 admins. If anybody else wants to help Stephen, please just private message him and through this chat and let him know you're willing to assist as well. So thank you so much. Danielle?
Hi, good day, everyone.
Good day.
Okay, my name is Danielle Gantum. I'm currently employed within the telecommunications industry. However, I do want to transition from telecom into the financial service sector. And based on, I guess, my research, compliance seemed very interesting to me. So I just wanted to begin that journey to learn new skills. And also to apply my already known skill sets in new ways. So yeah, that's why I joined the course.
Okay, well, welcome, Danielle. And we like persons from outside of the financial services sector. Compliance is widespread. So it was born into financial services. However, it is expanded. The other day, I don't know if you remember that somebody had hacked the gas line, the Russian gas line. And so, of course, they needed persons in the IT sector as well as in compliance to assist with, I guess, regaining or power to that gas line out of Russia. And then the marijuana business is blooming in the United States. And there's been talks of it becoming legal in the Bahamas. So I imagine we're going to need, compliance officers there. I'm certain telecommunications in some areas need to ensure that they are compliant with their laws, in terms of the telecommunication laws, that they are being followed properly. Last semester, we had 2 ladies from the pharmaceutical department saying that they work at the Pharmaceutical Council, and there are some pharmacies that give you medicine without the prescription, and so they were here to learn all about compliance. So it's widespread, and you may not need to cross over. Normally we are reactive rather than proactive. So if something happens in that area, or probably in other countries now, they probably have established compliance departments. Okay, so hang in there, and very good, and thank you for joining us. Okay, Dr. Indira Adderley.
Hi,
I can't hear you. Can you speak up a little for me, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Okay, Indira Adderley. I am here I'm the chairman of the board of my credit union, and compliance is very important in that sector as in the banking sector in general. And I want to know more about compliance. And if I do well, I'd probably be in the immediate class and then go on from there.
Correct. And very good. And it's good that you took the initiative because we are working to push to ensure that all persons on the board, when compliance was born in 2000, you know, after the Bahamas was blacklisted, it was centered around the financial services sector, and the financial services sector are the, you know, the gaming board that regulates the lotto houses, the showings, the casinos, the island locks. Then it's the insurance that all the insurance companies, the Securities Commission, or the securities broker-dealer firms. Then the central bank with all the banks. Most recently, the Compliance Commission with law firms, accounting firms, and real estate companies that hold the corporate service providers arm, and as well as jewelry stores, you know, high-end jewelry stores. And so all of that, all of those industries make up the financial services sector. And so definitely, like I said, back in 2000, a statutory requirement, which means it's required by law, only staff needed to be trained annually. But now, since the law has changed in 2018, the board also has to be trained annually. So it's very good that you took the initiative, saying that you hold that position already, because you should ensure that you are fully trained in, you know, whichever board that you're sitting on. So very good for joining. Okay, I see somebody says that this says Henfield. Can you click on your name and click more and add your first and last name, please, for the register? Henfield, and then introduce yourself.
Good day. My name is Shakara Pratt-Henfield. I work at the Department of Immigration as an immigration officer. I just finished my degree in computer networking and system security. And I took this course as a challenge because I want to go into cyber risk management.
Okay, excellent, excellent, and welcome. You're definitely in the right class to go on that journey. Okay, so thank you for joining us. Leah?
Hi, good day, everyone. My name is Aaliyah Starr. I am in the law industry. I previously worked in the banking industry. I joined this course because I would like to extend my knowledge on compliance and see if it's a good fit for me. And I know compliance is needed in all aspects of, well, in most aspects of certain businesses. So I'd like to, I guess, see how it would incorporate in law.
Okay, great, great. And a lot of, if you look in the newspaper, and a lot of the financial services companies, when they hire for compliance, they sometimes ask for a law degree or a CPA. So those work hand in hand with compliance. So you're in the right class. So welcome. Okay, Nicolette Cox.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicolette Cox. I'm an accountant by profession, but I've always had an interest in compliance. So I figured that this would be a good start.
Okay, so definitely a good start. And I promise you, you're gonna get loads of information. You won't leave disappointed. Okay, so welcome. P. Hasty, can you also hover over your name and change so we can have your first and last name? And this is just to avoid you being marked absent, okay? There's 5% for participation, and that means you have to attend class or, you know, send me an email and let me know why you have to listen to the recordings, okay? Okay, so go ahead, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Parika Hasty. and I'm employed at the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation. I took on this course not only because it is paid for, but also I have to agree with Ms. Knowles. I just looking toward a different career path. I'm a bit bored and with finance itself, with the accounting part of finance, I should say. So I want to move more into compliance.
Okay, welcome. And we hope, you know, we support you 100% in achieving your goals. Okay, quick, is it QuickCal, Barnaby? QTEL? How do you pronounce it? QTEL, okay.
QCal. Hi,
QCal,
my name is
okay.
QCal Barnaby Graham.
Okay.
I'm employed at Fidelity Bank. I checked this course because I just think that compliance keep following me. So I just, you know, finally decided to give it a try, and then I guess I'll see where to go from there.
Okay, very good. And definitely by the end of intro, you will decide, oh, I can't deal with Miss Bullet any longer. This is the end for me. Or I'm gonna, it's tough, but I'm gonna hang in there. So you are 4 weeks. Okay, Outen, can you please hover over and pull your full name for us, please?
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Shavana Outen, and I'm currently employed at the Financial Intelligence Unit in the Analytical Department. I've decided to take on this course because I've seen the analysts who I worked along with took on these courses, and I was very interested, and I wanted to know what it was all about. So that was my reason why I decided to take this course on.
I didn't tell you when you see Miss Bullet run? No?
No, Mom, they didn't tell me that.
Okay, good. Okay, but don't worry, you'll be okay. You'll be okay, good. Okay,
right, thank you.
Tanishka Tynes, Cambridge.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Tanisha, and I am an associate attorney at Tynes & Tynes. And the reason why I am in this course is because the managing partner said I am the compliance officer for the law firm. So I have to start. So I have to start at ground zero and get to know this compliance as much as possible and as soon as possible. As soon as I'm finished with this one, I have to sign up for the next stage.
Okay. Okay, and Tanishka, no worries. We are here to support you all the way through. And you are not the first. This has happened to many. In 2019, the law firms that have a corporate service providers arm are now required to have an MLRO on staff, or they can't get their business license renewed, right? And so many of those law firms, lawyers just showed up in the class and they said, we're gonna do this ourselves. You know, yes. So no fear. You're doing the right thing by educating yourself. A lot of persons are just sitting in that position and fumbling and not knowing how dangerous that is. Okay, so you're doing the right thing. That you're here, you're gaining the knowledge, and like I say, it comes with practice. Okay.
All right.
So you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Okay.
I feel like the only lawyer in here, but.
No. There were 2 other persons that said they did law.
Oh, okay.
And like make sure, and guess what? We want to expand our network. So we don't need 10 lawyers. We need 1 lawyer, 1 CPA, 1 person from operations, 1 person from agriculture. You know, you need a mix. Yes. Right? And then, then you'll have a whole. But if you have 5 CPAs and 5 lawyers, then you still only, it still equates to 1, right? You want a good mix of your network. Okay, so very good. Okay, so I have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 introductions and 19 in person. So I don't know if somebody joined afterwards. If you haven't introduced yourself, can you please introduce yourself for me? Unless, no, Miss Bullet and Miguel are the 19. Okay, yeah. Okay, guys, well, very good. I was expecting 25, but hopefully, you know, they join us and they catch up, and all of this is being recorded. And so if you miss anything, Miguel put in the invite exactly how to, you know, go and look up the recording and make sure, because sometimes you have to listen more than once, and it does require like a lot of research and a lot of reading. Like I said, compliance is a very complex area of the business, okay? And there's no book that you go to make these decisions. Like operations, there's an operations manual, or that will tell you to press enter and press F5, and it'll perhaps pull up a screen and show you what to do. Or finance has all those IFRS, you know, on how you should calculate and what you should do. But compliance, outside of law and policy, it's decisions. So once you would have read the law and you would have read the internal policy, then you have to make a decision. Okay, and like I said, it sounds remedial, but what I found is that a lot of persons do not comprehend. And when you don't comprehend, that means you do not understand. And a lot of people just copy and paste. And so we in this class, we test comprehension, okay? We test understanding, okay? And so at the end of the day, I want to ensure that you understand. Okay, and so we ask you for a lot of examples to prove your understanding. Okay, so what I'll do now, since we would have introduced ourselves and we have an idea of who's in the class with us, and we want to ensure that we build a strong network, let me just pull up the instruction sheet so we'll know what is required. Okay, so most of you would have picked up your textbook. Do all of you have your textbook from the office?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the textbook is very thin compared to the intermediate book, but there are only 8 chapters. So the first 8 chapters are only 2 or 3 pages. And this is the first test I want you to give to yourself. If you find that you cannot read these 1 or 2 pages on these chapters, then don't move on to intermediate, because compliance is not for you, because compliance requires a lot of reading and a lot of research. So there are only 8 chapters. And then at the back of the book, there is some colored paper that states case 1, case 2, or case 3. Those are just printouts from the internet. And we'll go through 1 or 2 of the examples. Okay, so I may say we perhaps will go through case 4 this afternoon when we talk about terrorism, okay? So each week you are required to read the chapter and then come to class and discuss what you would have read in the chapter. And we'll have a nice discussion based on, and we'll give examples on what our understanding is in the chapters, okay? So 2 or 3 pages each chapter. Remember I said it's just an overview. Before you blink, these 4 weeks will be gone and it'll be over. Okay, so in order to fully complete the class, your overall passing grade is 70%, okay? It's broken into 3 parts. The first part is worth 20%, and it's just a homework question that you have to complete and submit by a due date. So if you look at my screen, can everybody see my screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Yes, okay. There are 4 questions. These are all past exam questions, okay? And we split it up this way so you will have some practice on how to answer these essay questions. Now, if you read what it says, it says 1 essay should be submitted. A lot of persons say, can I do all 4? Yes, you can do all 4. However, only 1 should be submitted and only 1 will be graded, okay? It should be typed in standard essay form. You should have taken college prep English. We have a lot of persons that try and say, Ms. Bullard, APA or ALA or all these different things. This is not English. So please, if you have not taken college prep English, speak to Ms. Dean, let her sign you up so you would know what proper essay writing is. this essay should be between 1,000 and 1,200 words. Now, again, like I said, it's just for practice, because in introduction, you will have a final exam. In intermediate, you will have a final exam. However, when you get to ICA, you have to complete 3 papers on with 3,500 words, okay? And they grade heavily on referencing. If you don't, you can fail an entire paper if you do not reference properly. And so I attach the ICA handbook, and you can look only, you know, you can look through the entire book. This is an old version. But again, this is just for you to know how to reference properly. Go ahead, Bria, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I'm just going back to what you said previously. You said MLA or APA doesn't matter. It's just a standard essay?
Yes, yeah, it doesn't matter.
But we must reference.
Yeah, you must reference in accordance with the ICA handbook says on pages 17 and 19. Okay. So like I said, what you would find if you read too much, you're gonna have an information overload, because this is a lot of information. So for now, until you get comfortable, just read pages 17 and 19, and that will tell you what the requirement is for referencing in your paper, okay? If you don't reference, we cannot verify the source of your data or if it's true and correct. So you have to ensure that you reference properly. And when you write your essay, there's no need to copy large bodies of law and try and make up the words. You don't get any points for rehashing the law or rehashing a policy, okay? And then saying this out of the FTRA section 5. No, you don't get any points for that, okay? So read this, those 2 pages, and it tells you exactly how to reference and what the ICA standard on referencing is. And like I said, it's just a practice. If you're gonna go all the way, by the time you get there, you know exactly what is required, okay? Please avoid copy and paste. Ms. Bullitt has read 1,000 pieces of some documents, some books, everything related to compliance. Please don't copy and paste. And then after a while, I mean, this seems to be a very intellectual class, but these big words, and you know, I know Shavana don't say these words, they see in her paper, okay? So please, avoid me having to say, please redo. Now, the last class I had, I mean, so far the classes have been going well, but the last class were very, 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 I don't know what word to call them, but I had a lot of issues, and I actually had a lot of the concessions that I gave, I had to stop because it was getting out of control. Okay, so a lot, you know, you would have previously gotten more concessions. I had to remove all of them because they were being abused. Okay, so avoid copy and paste. Then late submissions. I had people sending me, the class was over for 2 weeks and they trying to send in their homework. Okay, because I used to accept it for 2 days late, but now I had to stop that because 2 weeks after a class over, you trying to send in a piece of homework, or after your final exam, you're trying to send in a piece of homework. Each homework has a due date. If you find that on May the 24th, you did not, you know, you out of time, don't stress yourself. Do the next question. What I encourage persons to do is try and do questions 2 or 3, because at first, you know, question 1 is fairly easy, but a lot of persons, you know, it is muddy at first. And as you go along, then it becomes clearer, okay? But please, if you are struggling, do not wait until question 4, because I won't be able to help you. We would not have identified that you're on the wrong track and that you need some more help, okay? So around question 2 or 3 is a good selection to know where you are at in the class. Persons always like to wait till the end and then have an emergency, and I got 1,000 stories out of last class, okay? So they said, Ms. Bullitt, all these concessions have to be stopped. Okay, so please, there are due dates there. Please stick to the due dates. No late submissions. And like I said, take college prep English if you don't know how to write an essay. Or if you would have been graduated in 1999, then you need a refresher, okay? Are there any questions? And this homework is 20% of your grade.
All right, Ms. Bullitt, who you said that we need to message, consider the English rep?
Miss Dean at the
Dean?
office. She is organizes the classes, and she'll let you know when English is on again, or if one is going on now that you could perhaps slip in.
Okay, thanks.
Because when you get to ICA, trust me, and it's very beneficial and it's very helpful. When you get to ICA, you can lose. I've seen persons fail their essay because of referencing, because they did not reference properly. Okay? And most of these questions have 2 or 3 parts. Okay? Please read the question properly and ensure that you answer the full question. Again, you won't get any points for copying and pasting a large piece of law or policy. You will get points if you give an example, if you can relate it to everyday life, and that proves that you understand. Okay?
Right. Ms. Bullard, just for clarification and just for my understanding, please.
Yes,
this is Carrie May. I just wanted to confirm, you're saying that I'm looking at the 4 questions. We are to choose one of them, or we're doing all 4 of them?
No, one question, see? One essay should be submitted for a grade. It's the first line, right? And you send that to my email.
Right.
The following week, you will get a grade on that essay.
Right, okay.
Primarily, this is open book now. So primarily, persons get 100%. If you don't get 100%, I send back, this is what was missing, and this is what you need to add.
Okay.
Okay? I almost had to have the whole class, last class redo. And so there will be no redos. Ms. Bullitt ain't afraid to give out 50 and 40% anymore. Before I used, if the person didn't get 70%, I would say, no, take some time and redo. And the person's never responded, okay, Ms. Bullitt, thank you for the opportunity to redo. And they never sent in the redo essay. Okay, so no redos, please get help, network, get a tutor, have somebody check it and try to get it right the first time.
Okay.
Okay, okay, great. Are there any questions about the homework and how do you get your 20%? Now, there are some scholars in this class and we are very tough to come to class and work. And so some persons will say, Ms. Bullard, I just didn't have time to do my homework. And then they fail the entire course, okay? Because if you don't do your homework, then you would need to almost get 100% on the final exam. And the probability that that would happen is very low. We've had 2 or 3 persons in the last 6 years that got a full 100%, but they also did their homework. Okay, so please don't risk it. You have sufficient time. You see the dates, please organize yourself. And this is what this course calls for. If you organize yourself and you plan and you do your research, you will be successful. Okay, you are going to get loads of information. You are going to have to learn how to scale that information down and pull out the important information that will give you points. Okay, I encourage all of the parents and the wives and the husbands to speak to your families. Okay, this is just 4 weeks. Ask them for a little bit of support. What I found is that a lot of persons are sitting in class with babies on their laps or somebody nagging them, Mommy, what time you could cook or what time do you eat? You know, you've been to work all day, you need to unwind, and then you need to be able to retain all this information Ms. Bullard is going to give you. Okay, so you need like a safe, quiet space, you know, to be able to retain this. And so please organize, you know, if you pick children up from school and if you cook, which night is this? Wednesday's night. No cooking on Wednesday night, no picking children up from school today, no rushing in traffic trying to get to class. All of that hampers your progress, okay? And again, y'all may say, Ms. Bullard, these things are very remedial, but these are the things that stop or prevent persons from passing because they're just, you know, torn between too many responsibilities. Okay, so find a support system, especially if you have those very young kids. Ask your husband to chime in, ask your wife to chime in and do a little extra until you get through this course, and then you can repay them later on, you know, when the course is over. You also need some downtime, some time to study. You need at least 3 hours per week study time. Okay, so please, speaking to your family and arranging help, you will find all of that very beneficial. I've had people pass fail just because they were just tired from rushing in from work, fighting traffic, and having to cook. Okay, you've all made an investment. Nobody is here for free, you know. We could have gone to Miami with this money. We could have bought a new bag. We could have bought some, go to watch the Miami and Boston game. But we took this money and we gave it to the Institute and we made an investment. And so we want a full return. Okay, and this is what will help you get a full return on your investment. Other than that, you might as well go buy that bag. Okay, this sale week, this Memorial Day weekend, next week, we could go shopping. Okay, so please, it's very important that you have a safe space and a space to study and just some time to unwind and just some time to do whatever makes you feel good. Okay, we good on the 20%?
Mom.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so participation is the next 10%. Okay, it requires you to attend the class, participate in the class, and do some research. Okay, and I put a due date again because this was abused with getting the additional 5%. Persons in my review class, I had 10 people trying to get their 5% in my review class. So I said, no, it has to stop. So what you are required to do as compliance officers is read the newspaper every day. Okay, and I worked in offshore for primarily the majority of my banking career. And so I was in charge of Brazil and Latin America and Venezuela, high-risk countries. And so at one point I was in charge of Asia. And so I had to read the Asian news. I had to keep abreast of what's happening and pick up trends and patterns for my Asian clients. And this is what we are required to do as employees in the financial services sector. We are required to know our customer. Okay, so if we work in the offshore world, we can't only just see what's happening in Nassau. You know, we need to know what's happening in the various countries that we service. Okay, normally I got to work at 7 a.m. When I got to work at 7 a.m., the CEO came to my office. What's happening in North Bullet? And he expected me to know. Okay, when you have water cooler conversations with executives, you don't talk about what happening at the fish fry or the dock or what you're wearing or what you eat today. You talk about what's happening in the news. Okay, and the only way for you to be abreast is to read the newspaper. Okay, and so because I worked in, I managed so many jurisdictions, what I did is on my Facebook feed, I just added the news from Switzerland and added the news from Asia and added the news from Latin America. And of course, I didn't have time to read everything every day, but I read the highlights. And one time I saw one of my customer names, I say Tanishka Times, Cambridge, where I know her from. Okay. And she was in the Swiss news being arrested for money laundering. Okay, so that was beneficial to me. I was able to Google, do some damage control before she ran off with all the money out of our bank. Okay, so reading the newspaper, the business section now, not the comics, and you coming back to the class and sharing with the class each week and telling us what's happening in Bahamian news or even international news. Okay, and that's how you get your first 5% of participation. Or if you read, we're gonna read tonight, but normally we don't read from the book. Okay, so you get your 5% if you volunteer to read up front. Okay, then I also ask you to subscribe or follow on social media, the Bahamas Financial Services Board, the central bank, because that's the oldest regulator, and normally the policies and procedures that I'm going to use is going to be based from the central bank. But if your regulator is the Compliance Commission, the lawyers use make sure you follow the Compliance Commission. If you work in gaming, follow the gaming board. If you work in securities, follow, you know, your regulator. Bahamas Association of Compliance Officers, BACO, they have a lot of lunch and learns. They have a lot of industry briefings, as well as the Attorney General Office. You can now, if you're going to go on the full journey to ICA, you can join BACO as a student. Okay, so they have an application form and they will send you invites, and there's a lot of support from the association for the industry. Okay, they fought a lot of battles for compliance officers with the regulators, and they've helped to implement a lot of policy changes and procedures that were needed. Okay, and then the Securities Commission, they are the regulators for the FinTech Hub, and FinTech is all this new digital technological stuff that's going on, digital assets. Okay, and when in my ICA book, they just updated that. And one question they had asked, are compliance professionals fully trained to be able to adequately manage this new technology to ensure that businesses are being compliant? And I say, hey, let's not wait till we get to ICA to answer that question. And so I encourage everybody to join the Securities Commission because they manage the FinTech Hub in the Bahamas. Okay, and then the Financial Action Task Force or any other website, you know, that gives you financial news and it keeps you abreast of what's going on. So I'm just going to stop the share and I'm just going to show you what to do. Because a lot of times they say, Miss Bull, halfway through the class, yeah, Miss Bull, you tell us to join, but I didn't know how to join. Okay, so this is how you join. Just a quick on how to, what you do. Go ahead, Bria, with your question.
So Ms. Bullitt, you need proof that we do follow these pages and we are subscribed?
No, what you would do is just come to class and let me know that the central bank sent out a policy today or something was in the newspaper. I mean, it's for your benefit.
No, not the news part of it. I understand the news part of it. I mean, in like actually following and subscribing to these different pages.
No, I'm just recommending this. You know, this is what, as you get into compliance, you will find out that, like I said, the CEO comes to my office each morning and I have to go over any changes, anything that happened in the news. Because we're regulated by the central bank has publications. And let me see, it says right here, latest publications. And in my last audit with the central bank, they asked me, they said, show me the publications that you received for, that was in what, 2020. And they said, show me where you would have disseminated it to your organization. And I said, well, I don't send out everything to everybody, but they said, okay. So we sent out something about, what did they send out? They sent out something that was relevant to the finance department. They say, show us where you would have sent out to the financial department, because the compliance department is the liaison for, you know, with the regulator. And that was, if I had not had proof, I would have gotten an audit note. Okay. So as compliance officers, you have to ensure that you are following your regulator, that you see the publications and you know how to speak knowledgeably to them. Okay. Because if policies and procedures or laws are updated, this is where you find it right here in the publication section. So I'm just recommending that you start this practice now. Okay, you don't have to prove to me that you did it. If you don't do it, it's on you. You know, we are all adults here. I am just giving recommendations on how to be effective. It's up to you if you find it beneficial or not. Not every single thing that Ms. Bullitt say that you're going to agree with. You know, it's up to you to decide. And that's what we must remember as compliance officers. We are only to advise. We don't make any decisions. We don't make the board do anything. We don't make the CEO or the company, and we don't get mad when they don't do it. We document our recommendation. We tell them what the law states and what it is to be compliant. Now, if they are breaking the law, then we report them to our regulator. However, I've made a lot of recommendations and they say Ms. Bullitt used too much. So I just document that they said Ms. Bullitt used too much and I move on. No, I didn't. Okay. So if you all say Ms. Bullitt, give us 10 places to sign up to and wait for that, then don't do it. You know, it's up to you. But what you could do is at the bottom of the central bank's web page, you come and when you're doing your research papers and stuff, this is a good, they have publications, they have media, they have all sorts of stuff to help you. You just go put in your email address and subscribe to their mailing list. So in a week or so, if you don't see any publications coming from them, then you call somebody in your with the central bank and say, girl, why aren't I getting you on mail and I don't sign up, right? Or you send them an email and ask them to, you know, sign you up. Okay, is that good? Does that show you how to sign up?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. So, and like I say, there's all sorts of research papers and information out there, and it's a good tool, very, very good tool. How do you get this thing out the way? No way, that in here, right there. Okay, so this is the Securities Commission. And again, if you go right to the media, you'll see that they have all sorts of publications. Wait, let's go to training. Yeah, and it's even organized in the and they get out of training on digital assets on March 31st. And so everything is saved and it's recorded and you can listen to it and keep up to date. This is the Securities Commission. And right here in the corner, they tell you all the latest news, all the policy. You see, Digital Asset and Registered Exchanges Act 2020, everything that you need to know, okay? And back to what I said, I read in the ICA book, they said our compliance officers trained to, you know, with all this new technology. And so you can write in the search bar, put FinTech Hub, because the Securities Commission manages all this, you know, the digital assets, the cryptocurrency, the sand dollar, the artificial intelligence. You know, when you call one of these banks now, nobody answers the phone, but they say, press 1 to talk to Ms. Bullitt, press 2 to talk to Ms. Sands. That's artificial intelligence. And so you have to know what risks are associated with that. Okay. And then there are, what else is familiar with? We all use artificial intelligence. Any risks surrounding debit cards and credit cards, we all use that. We all pay online, what are the risks there and how do we protect our organizations? Okay, crowdfunding, everybody's familiar with GoFundMe, but that is just for Americans and Canadians. You know, it's against the law for Bahamians to sign up for GoFundMe. So we have our own platform for crowdfunding. Okay, and the Securities Commission, they regulate it. And so if you do want to go and give money online, you would want to know that this going to the right source, right? And so what they ask you to do is either call or email the FIT link, and they will send you material invites to their various speeches, presentations, industry briefings, or whatever. Okay? And again, all of this helps you to be well-rounded, because as compliance, you have to keep current. You have to attend seminars, you have to attend briefings, and you have to ensure that you are trained each year. And let me give you an example. My institution wanted to open an account, I think it was in December of 2020. They wanted to open an account with Morgan Stanley in the States. And they said, before we permit you to open this account with Morgan Stanley, we'd like to see the CV of your compliance officer. So I had to send in my resume, and then they came back. They said, Ms. Bullard, please confirm which seminars you have attended this year. And I said, but it was a pandemic. Nobody was going to no seminars. But they said if I wasn't able to provide that I had some training in 2020, then I would have to go to training before they open up the account for the company. And so, of course, you know, the company is like, Ms. Bullard, you didn't go to any training. So luckily I had attended some online courses, you know, and I was able to send in my CPD hours. They give you a certificate that says your continued professional development hours. And I was able to submit that, because that would have shown a negative light on Ms. Bullard if they couldn't get that account open. Bria, you still have your hand up, or I just need to put it down?
Sorry, I forgot to put it down.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so that was a lot of information. You all just let me know. You know, I talk a lot. You all could beat me back in Ms. Bullard. Okay, enough stories. You know, but that's what you need to do. Read the newspaper every day. Come back and share with the class, and you get 5%. Subscribe and follow on social media these various institutions, and all of this will help you to get in the various networks that you need to be in, because when it's time to make these decisions, you want to be able to, you know, pick up the phone and call in some favors and say, how do you do this? Or what did you do? Or have you had this experience? Okay, and save the company some money, because sometimes the company don't even pay. I won't go ahead.
Yes, I was just wondering, how is it that y'all don't have the FIU a part of this?
The financial action, no, FIU. I said all other applicable websites. So yes, join the FIU. Your site has just been, since you'll get on the Case Connect, then you'll put out more stuff. But yeah, before your site wasn't no information.
Yes, it wasn't up as yet. No. So it just came up about 2 or 3 years ago.
Right. So they fall under all applicable, you know. So definitely join the FIU, and their site is very good now and have loads of information. And when you're looking to do your paper, you could refer that for information. Yes, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Yeah, there's, like I said, this is information overload. There's loads of information out there. You have to be able to scale it down and show what's relevant. Okay, so we understand what we need to do for the 5% participation. Read, participate in class, and share with us what you read in the newspaper. Correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Stephen, why you sound like that? You sound, this Ms. Bullard just done too much. Come talk back to me. Give me some feedback.
I'm just looking at the websites.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So your next 5% is attending Toastmasters, Rotary, or Kiwanis, right? And in this day and time, persons hire who they know, okay? And so therefore, if you want to be one of those persons that they know, you have to go to these organizations, because this is where corporate Bahamas hangs out. They don't hang out to the dock. They don't hang out to the fish fry. They ain't in no club, okay? So they in these various organizations, all the key executives, all the people that you need to buddy up with, right? And you are in the right place. Before you go there, you are educating yourself, because you don't want any favors, right? You want to achieve the goal, because you know they say, oh, that's Ms. Bullard's nephew, okay? So there are 19 of us in here and only one position. Who am I going to give that position to? At the end of the day, all 19 of us are going to be qualified. You know who I give that to? Stephen. So Stephen volunteer and say, I got hold this group for you, Ms. Bullard, and in 5 minutes after we met. Okay, so to me that shows he have initiative and he willing to help. Okay, so make sure you are known. So I don't only want you to attend, I want you to introduce yourself and try build a network with these persons. Okay, and so it must be twofold. It's not only what you can get from them, but what they can also give to you, what you could give to them. Okay, and you ain't going to look for boyfriends or girlfriends or godparents for your children. Okay, this is for advancement of your corporate career. Okay, because somebody come and say, Miss Bullet, the fellas were so cute. I say, no, no, no. That ain't what you're going for. Okay? I know, I'm sorry. I have to say, I'm sorry. I have to tell everybody. No godparents, no, this for your corporate development. Okay? Now, if anybody is already in one of these Toastmasters, Rotary, or Kiwanis, we'd appreciate if you would invite us. You know, we could come together as a group or whatever. Everybody can get their 5% one time, but we want everybody to introduce themselves and add some value when they go there. And then you have to come back and share with the class. And when you come, you know, people have come and say, Miss Bullard, I had been and I didn't like it. So yeah, I sign off, or I was busy and I sign in, but no, you don't get the 5% for just signing in. You don't get the 5% if you don't come back and share good information and what you learn. And normally Toastmasters has a word of the day. So you don't get the 5% if you don't come and tell us what the word of the day is. Okay, and you could just Google this. There are lots of meetings that have an open, you know, invitation online. And a lot of people are online because of COVID. So this is not something that you have to dress up and go into. But if you do go, please, you know, dress like you go into an interview. Okay. Any questions? And June the 8th, after June the 8th, Ms. Bullet, don't want to hear your story. Don't send it to me by email. Don't call me on my cell phone. Okay, and people call me on my cell phone and try to send it by email. No, you do not get the 5% that way. Go ahead, Alton.
So again, on June the 8th, what is due on June the 8th? All of these.
That's our 4th class. So that would be the last time you could discuss your newspaper.
Okay.
Or to get your 5% for attending your networking session.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, okay. Okay, good. Any questions on the 10%? Okay, and then your final exams is 70% of your grade is going to be 15 multiple choice questions and 7 essays. Okay, there will be no surprises. Like I said, the key to this is organization. When you walk into the exam, you would have prepared. I know I'm going to answer the question on risk or on money laundering or on terrorism. You know, so by the end of this course, you will be fully equipped to sit this exam. Go ahead, Bria.
Okay, question on the final. I see you said 7 essay questions. So do we have to answer all 7, or is it like pick 3 of the 7 or pick 5 of the 7?
7 of the 10. There's going to be 10 choices, and you pick 7, right? And so don't worry, it's not going to be like the homework where you're required to write 1,000 words, 1 page is a page and a half. So
okay, and how long is the exam?
3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. 3 hours. Okay, 2 other persons have their hand raised.
Is this an in-person exam?
Yes, it is. It will be held at the institute where you would have collected your books from and registered.
Okay, I have an issue. I'm in Grand Bahama.
Okay, so Miss, we have testing centers in Abaco, Eleuthera, and Grand Bahama. So there's no issue. Yeah.
All right, good.
No issue.
Because I was like, I know how I get into Nassau.
No, you don't have to come to Nassau. We have testing centers.
All right.
Okay, good. Any questions on the instructions? Okay, and then you have a copy of it, so you could always refer back to it. Okay, and we know that we only reading 17 and 19 on the ICA handout to learn how they want their referencing done. And the last attachment was the central bank guidelines. And like I said, primarily my career is in banking. And so I refer to this often. Follow your regulator, ensure that you understand what their guidelines say. Primarily, this is 91 pages. The central bank is the oldest regulator. What I've seen throughout the other regulators is they just took out the parts of the central bank guideline and you know, created their own, whatever was relevant to them. But basically, whenever you are doing research on a particular topic, what you do is you look at the last revised date, because a lot of these laws have been updated since 2018. And even with the FATF, which is the Financial Action Task Force, with the 40 recommendations, they have been updated. And I had persons write entire papers on old laws and spent days writing it and to only have to go and redo it. So anytime you pick up a policy, procedure, law, please look at the date, make sure it's the most current copy, because there are changes and updates in most of them, okay? And then you go, like I said, you're gonna find that it's very overwhelming amount of information. What you do is, I guess if this wasn't good, you'd press Shift and F5, and if you were looking for risk, go straight to the section for risk and read that only. You don't want to read the entire 91 pages, and you only need information on risk, okay? And so always use your table of contents, okay? Any questions so far? Okay, so those are 3 handouts. And like I said, we will refer a lot of times to the central bank guideline. That's why I attached it. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so because I've talked a lot already, we will go into chapter 1, just so we can get through it. And you will find that, you know, a lot of persons are rushing from work and they need a little bit of extra time. And so this is why at the beginning of each class, we discuss our newspaper clippings. So next week, I expect at least 5 of you to come into newspaper clippings. And for the first half an hour of each class, we will discuss the newspaper clippings. And then for the other classes, if anybody has gone to the civic organization, we'll do that in the first half an hour. And then we will get into the lecture, okay? So a lot of people that say, Miss Bullitt, I don't have no more news, you know. I get signed in at 6:30. It's completely up to you. It's completely up to you. But the newspaper articles help us to, you know, get the examples that we need to write in our papers. Okay? Okay. Any questions?
Okay, no questions.
No questions. Okay, so let's turn into our books, into chapter 1. And like I said, we'll see chapter 1 is a little bit longer than usual. But like I said, most is 3 to 5 pages. And like I said, if you feel difficulty, if you have difficulty reading these 3 to 5 pages, then this compliance just isn't for you. Okay? So, no, for real. And that doesn't mean anything. You know, there's credit, there's finance, there's HR. What is important is that you continue on your journey to, you know, advance your career. Okay, and so after this, compliance is applicable to everybody in the financial services sector. And you would have heard the cliche, compliance is everybody's business, right? And now we've moved from a rules-based approach to a risk-based approach. So what that means is that the finance department needs to sit with risk and compliance and identify the risk in finance. HR needs to identify the risk in HR. Credit needs to identify the risk. So this entry level is, like I said, 1 step above your annual training. So this is going to be beneficial to all. Okay? Okay, so a little bit of history about compliance. I say compliance is very young, just 22 years. We just past our 21 years. And you know what happens with teenagers when they're 17, they just graduating from high school, then they just finishing college and they partying, right? And so that's where compliance is right now, just out of the partying stage and ready to settle down. And I say that because back in 2000, the Bahamas was blacklisted by the Financial Action Task Force. And what that means is that the Financial Action Task Force, they wanted to mitigate the risk of money laundering and terrorist financing across countries. And so what they did is they created 40 recommendations, right? And let me just see, I'll pull that up so I can show you all. So they created 40 recommendations. And what they said is countries need to put these recommendations in place. And if they don't, even though they are recommendations, we will blacklist them, okay? And so, of course, these recommendations did both good and harm. And so the Bahamas used a staggered approach to put in the 40 recommendations. And so what they did is they came and did an analysis of the 40 recommendations in the Bahamas back in 2000 and found out we only had the shell. And so therefore they blacklisted us. And of course, that hurts the economic stability of a country, because you would find that organizations don't do business with blacklisted countries, or if you're considered high risk, they don't give you loans, and we live in a deficit, okay? And so they would like twisting our arm, even though they call these recommendations, we had to put them in place. And so what happens with these recommendations, as we get through the chapters, we'll see that there are international regulators like the FATF, the World Bank, the IMF, the OECD. They are the international regulators. And so they put out recommendations that countries around the world should follow. Countries put those recommendations into law. Regulators locally create policies, which is the central bank guideline. And then organizations that are regulated by that central bank or that Securities Commission, then they create their own internal AML policy. Was that clear? Y'all talk back to me.
Yes, it was clear.
Yes, it's clear.
That was a lot. That even confused me, who've been doing this for a long time. Y'all don't just tell me yes. Okay, I'm gonna say it again.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. And so that's why y'all have to tell, I'm testing to see, how much information to give at once and how far to go back. But I just like to start with history so persons understand where all of this comes from. Okay, so an international regulator, the FATF, can everybody see this?
Yes.
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 Okay. They put in, and remember now we want to check the date, and I think there's a later date that's updated, but just for we're not writing a paper, so that's fine. We check the date, this 2/19, and we look at these recommendations, okay? And they are 40. So they expected the Bahamas to put these 40 recommendations into law, okay? And again, it's very expensive to put law into place, because you cannot only put law. Once you put law into place, somebody has to enforce the law. Somebody has to audit the law. Somebody has to make sure organizations are being compliant. And so back in 2000, we really didn't have the money for this. And they wasn't lending us any money to put laws in place. And so, like I said, we use a staggered approach because we didn't want to wipe out our financial services sector. So just so you can have an eye view, and like I said, when we get on the intermediate, you will know more, about the 40 recommendations. But let's just look at recommendation 1, and just so you can have an eye view. And recommendation 1 just states, why does it hold 40 recommendations? Happening. Okay, okay, everything here loading. Okay, There we go. So recommendation 1 says, assessing risk and applying a risk-based approach, okay? Even though they put these laws out back in 2000, they've been updated and some changes have been made. We put it into law, but we did not enforce it, okay? Because like I said again, it says assessing risk and applying a risk-based approach. Before 2018, we had a rules-based approach where they would send us a checklist and we would just check a box. Now they said, you know, that was one size fits all. And so everybody needs to tailor their risk assessment or this risk-based approach to their organization. Okay, so that's recommendation 1. So what we did is we created a law, the Financial Transaction Reporting Act 2018, and in section 5, we must identify our risks and put controls in place to mitigate that risk. Okay, so that's how we would have satisfied recommendation 1, but we never did that until 2018. Okay, so for the first 18 years, we were deficient in that recommendation. Okay, but what did that mean? That meant that not only did you need a compliance officer, you had to hire a risk officer. That risk officer had to be trained, like how Ms. Cambridge is just in this class now. She has to be trained, and then she has to identify all the risks in her law firm, document those risks, and put in controls in place to ensure that risk is mitigated. Okay, and what does that mean? That means that instead of having one person to sign on a transfer, she says 2 persons are going to sign. Okay, because she is mitigating the risk of somebody stealing if only one person is signing. Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, so like I said, we were blacklisted because it was expensive. Just in 2022 now, Ms. Cambridge is in place, but they've been operating, let's say, for the last 10 years. They've just decided to up her salary. And they hire her now as the MLRO. She doesn't even know she has to do risk. Okay?
Ms. Bullitt, no, speak that into existence from your lips to God's ears.
Okay, yes. So, and then that's just it. Institutions don't have the money to pay. They taking the person who's been there the longest and saying use the MLRO now because we can't get our license without having one in place. Go to the class and learn as much as you can. But they don't know the magnitude of what is required. Okay? Regulation is expensive, it costs a lot of money. So like I said, we took a staggered approach, and in 2017, they came in, they created a mutual evaluation report, and they said that we were deficient in 22 of these 40 recommendations. And if we did not work to update these deficiencies, we would be blacklisted again. Now, we were blacklisted once or twice, but we have done a lot of work. We've put a lot of law in place. We didn't, we just had the shell in place, and where if you had hired, who was it, Wayne Monroe or Lucille, you would have went on a technicality. And so there's no more winning on a technicality. These laws are supposed to be sound, and they are supposed to be able to prosecute persons, okay? Another law was that we didn't have money laundering as a predicate crime. And so what that meant is that persons were charged with theft, and not theft and money laundering, or drug dealing and not drug dealing and money laundering. And as we go through chapter 1, we'll find that there are 21 crimes under money laundering. Okay? And so now after 2018 and the laws were updated and the majority of these 40 recommendations are implemented in our law properly, you will find that when persons get charged with theft and money laundering, drug dealing and money laundering, tax evasion and money laundering, okay? And that money laundering poses a higher penalty. Whereas let's say theft or fraud would have only given you 2 to 4 years, 5 years. That money laundering charge will give you some extra years, okay? And so to avoid being blacklisted, this is how we had to implement into our laws, no matter what the cost was, or we don't get licenses. or we get blacklisted. Okay? So back to chapter 1, understanding money laundering. Okay? And the easiest way, I have a little story. There's 3, the book says money laundering is a process where criminals, if they are successful, they conceal the ownership and origin of the property from their criminal acts, and they place it into the financial services sector. Okay? There are 3 stages in money laundering. There is placement, where cash is derived from criminal activity and is infused into the financial system. We go out and we do a drug deal, and then we walk into Royal Bank and we deposit the money. Then there's layering. Once that money is in Royal Bank, we go online and I send some money to Hasty, and then some to Barnaby, and then some to Stephen. And I say, y'all go pay your children's school fee with that. Okay? So after we send these transactions all around to try and hide exactly that we had this $10,000, then we let Stephen go pay his children's school fee. Now it's integrated back into Queen's College, and now it's legitimate. So it's a washing of the money. So placing, depositing it, first you start with the drug deal. I get $10,000. I go down to Royal Bank. I deposit that. I go online. I transfer it around, and then I let Stephen pay his child's school fee. Placement, layering, and then reintroducing it back into the country as legal proceeds. Okay? And the story that I have to tell you is back, I was at Finkel Robinson Road in the beginning of my career. And we had a car wash guy out there. And he used to clean everybody's car. And of course, I said, we used to just call him Yadi. Okay? And Yadi used to clean everybody's car, and he was very good at cleaning. And he said, Miss Bullet, you know, I make good money. I make like $200 a week off of you all. I want to be able to save some of this money. So I said, good, Yadi, good. Come, bring your passport. Let's open an account for you. And so we opened an account for Yadi. And I said, out of the $200, how much can you save per week? And he said, well, Miss Bullet, I could save $50. I said, okay, Yadi, that's very good. And that was reasonable, seeing that I knew for sure that he cleaned at least 10 to 12 cars per week. Okay? So I created a profile for him that we should accept $50 a week from him. Now, it was going well for about a year or so. And then Yadi came in with $10,000. I said, Yadi, where you get this money from? He said, Miss Bullet, I hit a lick. So what should Miss Bullet have done?
Horribly.
You don't just go, you should tell her now, you just go to
further investigate that.
We need the program. We need the
investigate that.
Program.
Yeah, but Yadi done tell me he hit a lick.
He might have
know what that means.
That means he's going to do work. So you have to call him
the
lick man. You take the money and then you report him. What a lick is.
No,
okay. That must be winning from gambling.
He might have hit the number. And all you got to do is ask him for his source of funds. And if that comes from the number shop, then you could deposit his money and take your 1%.
Right. And so this is what it could be a legitimate way. Right. He could have been a number, and gambling is legal. Yes, he could have had a relative that died that left him an inheritance.
So what about ASU?
He could have been involved in ASU.
Yeah,
right.
You just need a source of funds.
Right. So this is what you do. So at account opening, you create a profile. There's a form where you
due diligence come in.
Yes, and you verify that indeed Yadi could afford $50 a week. Okay, so anything outside of that $50, he could bring 100, we still wouldn't question it. But when he brings 10,000, that is completely outside of his profile. And of course, we don't automatically assume that Yadi didn't do the right thing, right?
Right.
We go and ask him to declare the funds. And if he cannot declare the funds, we ensure that we do not tip him off. And there should be an internal suspicious transaction form. We fill it out, we give it to our manager or to the MLRO, and then the MLRO does the investigation. And then they decide that they have sufficient evidence to send it on to the Financial Intelligence Unit, who then gives it to the police to investigate. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how it happens. So we want to ensure that all of us, we do our jobs to ensure that this money is not placed into the financial services sector and we don't do anything about it. Or I say, man, you already know now, I can't take that money, you go with that, okay? Or no, I can take half, because they got start asking questions. We have to be aware that we do not tip off and we do not fail to disclose, okay? And so if you work in the financial services sector, in your onboarding as an employee, you will see that your HR will give you some forms, and those are the two laws. Working in the finance, we have a duty of confidentiality, but we also have a duty to ensure that we do not tip the client off, no matter if this is a friend or a relative. And we also do not fail to disclose that, someone has deposited funds outside of their profile. Okay? Now, another thing that has happened is most of us have a yardie outside of our establishment that clean our car, or sell us peanuts, or somebody out there who's walk us out in the night, and all these little things. And unfortunately, we only know them as yardie. Okay? So at the Securities Commission, they had the same car wash guy who they only know as an alias. Okay? And that person went into one of those cars cleaning it, and somebody had left their computer bag. I don't know the exact story, but somebody had left their computer bag and some signed checks, and the car wash guy was able to get hold of those checks, and he defrauded the Securities Commission of $850,000.
Yee.
Okay? Had they did a background check on him, they would have seen that he was out on bail for robbing Commonwealth Bank in Eleuthera.
Wow.
Okay? And so all of us have a yardie outside, correct? All of us give our car keys to the car wash guy, right? And we don't know what his name is, right? Yardie or this or that or whatever alias, correct? Hello? You all there?
Yeah.
Y'all quiet. Only Miss Bullet.
No, ma'am, I'm not doing that.
Only me want to wash my car.
No, child. I only have one person who's washed my car. Yardie washing this.
But I mean, y'all are aware outside of many institutions, there's a guy.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, with just an alias. You have to be careful. Just like your office has a clear desk policy, and you need to ensure that you put up, leave no papers on the printer, make sure you shred everything.
Yes, ma'am.
These scammers and these hackers, they're desperate, they're very knowledgeable. They take advantage of our ignorance. Okay? That person could have just say, I only work in a half day today, I don't need to bring in my computer bag, I could leave it. $850,000 later, they knew better. Okay? Even if you have a hatchback, if you drive a Jeep, you valet parking. You come straight from work, you go on a happy hour. You don't walk in from the parking lot, you valet parking, but that person could access your company information. Be very careful. Okay, Bria, go ahead.
Sorry, Ms. Bullet, I just have not a question per se, but I don't mean to derail the conversation, but I know a president at a Toastmasters Club. It's called BPSU Majestic Marlins, and they hold their meetings on Thursdays, and I've asked for an invite for myself, and I just asked if I can bring the whole class, and the president said that'll be great if anyone is interested, but it'll be next week, Thursday. So you could just let me know and I can send the invite. So that could be a whole class thing if you guys want, or if you don't, that's fine as well.
Okay, and you'll have to work together for each person to tell Ms. Bullet about what they found.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
If you're interested and if you want to join. Yes,
I forget.
Make sure y'all don't say the same thing. It's 18 of y'all.
Oh, I forgot about that. So that might not be a good.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. It's fine. Because, you might be intimidated, going into a new setting and you want to go with a group. That's fine. Persons have gone with a group and took a picture and sent it to me, but I want you to be able to speak knowledgeably to it and to introduce yourself.
Okay, so we all in the WhatsApp group, so y'all could just let me know and I'll just forward the invite. It's online, by the way. So that's even better.
Right.
So,
okay, very good. That works for me, whichever is easiest.
Okay.
Like I said, I know it's difficult to work, go to school and do all these things that, you know, have to be done. Take care of home, school and work. It's difficult, so it works for me.
Okay.
Okay, very good. And thank you for the invite.
No problem.
Okay, so the stages: placement, placing that money, infusing it to the financial services sector; layering, complex system of transactions designed to hide the source and the ownership of the funds and to diminish the audit trail; integration, now I'm going to go pay my mortgage with this or my children's school fee. So it's now a legitimate source of funds. Okay, so do we get the 3 stages?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And normally on the exam, they will ask you, as you see, the first homework question is, explain to me how do we launder money in the placement stage. Okay, so of course you will go through the stages of money laundering. You will speak on placement, and then you will give an example. And people always give the car wash or the peanut guy or whatever, you know, whatever they would have experienced at their jobs. Okay, so just know that how to explain exactly, because a lot of times you can tell a story, but you can't write it down. So make sure you can write it down properly to give to get full points. Okay, and so through the book just has different various things. You can go online and Google these little pictures and what have you. And it'll tell you the full story on, you know, just some pictures to tell you about placement, layering, and what the goal is and how they integrate. Like I said previously, there are 21 crimes under money laundering, and this is another very popular question on the exam. They ask you, you know, to describe, you know, 5 crimes that fall under money laundering, and then you give examples of each. And so the book just lists some of them, which are fraud, theft, counterfeiting, and a lot of people, when they talk about counterfeiting, they like to use the George Floyd case. You know, he would have taken $20 into the store. They thought it was counterfeit. They called the police, and unfortunately, that spiraled out of control. Then there's corruption and bribery. Then there's breach of sanctions. Then there's people trafficking and tax evasion and smuggling. Okay, and they are the predicate crimes that they all fall under money laundering. Okay, are we clear on the stages of money laundering?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's it. Like I said, all you need to know is the 3 stages, and all you need to know is a story. Write it out to make sense, and you get full points. Very, very easy question to answer. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. And it goes on to tell you the proceeds of crime act. Predicate crimes are referred to as identified risk. And as we look through the laws, I think there's chapter 2 or 3 that talks, no, 3 or 4 that talks about laws. You will see that this is why we always need a lawyer, because the terminologies are different. And then they have a lot of, phrases in there that, you know, it's not written in layman's terms, so we always need an interpreter. But right, so yeah, I get it. You all know what I talk about. So it tells you these identified risks. So again, terminology is important. And so, like Ms. Woolley just said, there are 21 crimes under money laundering. But if the question asks you, list the identified risk under money laundering, people be like, identified risk? I don't know what that is. Okay, so make sure you understand the various terminologies that they use, because sometimes people get confused on the final exam with that. Okay. Okay. Any questions on chapter 1?
No, ma'am. It's pretty clear.
Pretty clear.
Straightforward.
Okay, clear as mud. Clear as mud. Good. Okay. And feel free, like I said, this is open feel free to come back with questions, any concerns, and just let me know if you need me to slow down or what you would need. The key is to comprehend and to retain, okay? So we're gonna move on to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is understanding terrorist finances, okay? And a lot of times, of course, when we hear terrorists, we automatically think about September 11th, right?
Yes.
But in 2019, there were more than 365 domestic terrorism attacks. Okay, we are all familiar with domestic terrorism?
No. No, ma'am, you can explain it to us.
In country.
Yeah, in country, local
In
terrorists
country.
in country. Right, and just what happened in New York, or sorry, not New York, was it Buffalo and California on the same day? I think 10 persons were shot, and some more persons were shot in California, okay? So domestic terrorism in 2019, there were more than 365 cases of domestic terrorism in America, okay? And that's alarming to me because in America sneezes, Bahamas catches a cold, right? And so in 2019, we saw the effects of that. We saw a Foxhill Park get shot up where 8 persons were shot. We saw a baby shower got shot up where 13 persons were shot. And then we had 6 persons killed in broad daylight, okay? All considered domestic terrorism, okay? So we wanna be aware of what's going on in our country now. Our domestic terrorism is primarily, gang related. In America, it's race related, okay? And again, like I said, you just want the awareness. Now, we are familiar, like I said, with September 11th. Do we think that we have a terrorism issue in the Bahamas? Are we at risk? Do we need to be concerned with international terrorism?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, very good. Because we have 4 international airports, right? We have one at Exuma, one at San Salvador, one in Eleuthera, and Freeport, and then Nassau, okay? And
But we have more than that.
International airports where international planes fly in?
Mm-hmm.
Where else?
Well, like those private charters and stuff, they all come to, I know Rocksound International, North Eleuthera International.
So Eleuthera. Yeah, Eleuthera is international.
The only one that you would add on is Abaco.
Abaco.
Okay.
Providence, Grand Bahama.
Okay. And so of course we know that. Okay, great. So of course we know that in September 11th, they went to various countries and they hijacked planes and they wanted to fly them into the World Trade Center and to the White House and to the Pentagon, I guess. Are we aware that on September 11th, that the terrorists landed in Freeport? Are we aware of that?
They also passed through Nassau. They also passed through Nassau, one of them.
Okay, one of them passed through Nassau, but they landed in Freeport and they did not have the proper visas. And our immigration department, this is back in 2001 now, before all of these laws were hard and fast and in place and being enforced. Our immigration department was vigilant at that time and turned them back and said that they did not have the proper visas and did not allow them into the country and sent them right back on the same plane that they came on. So they was unable to hijack the plane that they wanted to go either into the White House or the Pentagon.
Wow.
Okay. Can we imagine what would have happened had the Bahamas, those immigration officers not been vigilant and they was allowed to say, take that plane and hijack it and they left from the Bahamas? Could you imagine the reputational suffering and the damage to tourism that we would have, suffered?
And they still blacklisted us.
We would have been more than blacklisted. We wouldn't even make it to a list. We might have been a Haiti had they been able to leave from us. And you know what I mean? So thank God, like I said, at that time, back in 2000, before persons were trained, before compliance was everybody's business, before we even took any of this seriously, that the immigration department was vigilant and they were able to stop that plane from leaving from the Bahamas, okay? Okay, so the objective of terrorism is to intimidate a population or to compel a government or an international organization to do or abstain from doing any act, okay? Foreign terrorist organizations, of course, we know the Al-Qaeda, the Boko Haram, and this is two splinter groups of the Irish Republican Army. Okay, there are several groups around the world linked to ISIS, and they all have a particular objective. Now, the book compares money laundering to terrorist financing, and it goes through the various differences. And again, this is another popular question on the exam, and a lot of times persons get confused. In my book, and I may have an older version, if you just turn to the last page, I have it on page 23. It's a chart. It says money laundering versus terrorist financing. Do we all see that?
Yes.
Okay. And so if we look at this chart, and like I said, very popular comparison, they normally ask this on the exams. What is the motivation? So of course we see the money laundering motivation is to seek profit, and the terrorist financing motivation is ideological. This are their beliefs. They grew up this way, you know. Just how we grew up in Christianity. If anybody come and tell us, I don't want to say Benny Hinn, T.D. Jakes isn't real, you know, we would question them. And so, of course, their religion has taught them that, you know, if they become suicide bombers, or if they, you know, carry out these terrorist acts, when they die, you know, their family will be rich. They will have virgins, they will have oil and gold and wealth, and their families will be taken care of, okay? And so this is how they grew up, and this is how they were trained, and this is why they believe in it. And so normally the questions would ask you, what is their intention, okay? And it says on the money laundering side, it's to clean ill-gotten gains or dirty money so that they appear to be proceeds from legal activity. And on the terrorist financing side, to intimidate the population or to compel a government or an international organization to do or abstain from doing any specific act through the threat of violence. Then they ask for the source of funding. And this is also a very popular multiple choice question. Money laundering, you normally only get it from unlawful sources or illegal sources. But terrorist financing can come from legal sources and unlegal sources. So legitimate sources and unlawful sources. And some of the legitimate sources are charitable donations, or sympathizers, or people working, they send half of their salary. And I want us to move to the back of the book to case 3 or 4 in the back of your book, where it says how does ISIS terrorist finance their attacks, so we can see what some of these legitimate and illegitimate sources are. How do ISIS terrorists finance their attacks? Do we see that at case 4 at the back of our books? If we look at the blue paper?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
okay, so do we have a volunteer who's going to get their 5%, who's going to read for us?
I can read.
Okay, so we are going to read 2 pages. So who's the second person? So we can start, and then who is it? Carrie May will finish, and sorry, you have a question?
Yeah, no, I have a statement. I do not have the book because I'm not in. I sent you an email to tell you that I'm not in Nassau, so I was not able to get my book.
Yeah, but Ms. Ian didn't email it to you?
She sent me the first and second chapter. I don't have the.
I can send pictures.
Please.
Okay, that's fine. You could just pay attention till you get your book. That's fine.
Okay.
It's again just an eye opener.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So who else wanted to read then? Brittany?
Yes, I can read after Bria.
So, okay, after Bria. Okay, good. So I start first, Brittany, and again, I want you to walk away looking at the legitimate versus the illegitimate ways terrorists finance their objectives. Okay? Go ahead, Bria.
Oh, sorry, I took picture of the wrong case. It's case number 4, right?
It says, how do ISIS terrorists finance their attacks? And there's somebody on a gurney with some ambulance drivers.
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay.
Just 1 second. Okay, so how do ISIS terrorists finance their attacks? Meeting in Turkey just 2 days after the horrific terrorist attacks in Paris, leaders of the G20 countries issued a statement condemning recent Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, ISIS, attacks, and reaffirmed their commitment to combat terrorism. More specifically, the group of industrial nations recommitted itself to tackling the financing channels of terrorism, which begs the question, how does ISIS finance its international operations? ISIS is primarily financed through a wide array of criminal activities, large and small, centered in parts of Syria and Iraq that are under the group's control. ISIS steals livestock, sells foreign fighter passports, taxes minorities and farmers and truckers, runs a sophisticated extortion racket, kidnaps civilians for ransom payments, loots iniquities, and antiquities, and yeah, I don't know.
Antiquities, don't worry. There's some funny words and you don't worry about it.
Antiquities and much more. It also makes about 40 million a month from illicit oil sales alone. But these sources primarily support the group's expensive state building and war fighting enterprises back home, ranging from deadly attacks at home instead, easily redirecting transportation funds forward homegrown acts of terrorism. And while ISIS governance and military expenses in Syria and Iraq are high, carrying out an attack in the West is inexpensive. Take, for example, the January attacks on Paris against Charlie Hebdo magazine, a police officer, and a kosher grocery. Amity Karbani claimed to have helped the Karachi brothers with their project by giving them a few €1,000 so they could buy what they needed to buy. The two Karachi brothers reportedly received $20,000 from Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, ACAP, but the rocket-propelled grenade launcher and the Kalish.
Don't worry about pronouncing the words. Did you skip a whole page? You don't have nothing on the back of your
No, this is the back.
I just was about to ask.
Yeah,
I was following, but I was like, what is she reading?
Yeah. You don't have another page which says the top pay and teacher salaries.
No, and I have the same thing that she has.
I have the pay and the teacher salaries.
Well, I can't read then. Y'all gotta read.
Okay, yeah, and don't worry about pronouncing the names because they're not English names. Okay.
Right. Hold on 1 sec. I'm sending a photo to. I'm posted in the group.
Okay.
So y'all could follow along.
Yeah, I guess someone else could pick up that page since I don't have it.
I'm sorry.
Brittany, do you have it?
I post a page in the group.
Is that case 3?
Yeah, where it's at the top. She read the first page, but I don't know what would have happened to her second page.
Is it the one that says the Global Terrorism Index 2017 was released this week?
No, it should be case 3 or 4.
The next one, case 4.
Okay, Stephen, you want to read for us? You have it?
Yeah, one sec. I was posting the picture so they could follow in the group. I don't know how to do that, so I'll just.
I have the same one as Bria, the case for.
One sec.
Ms. Bullet, I believe a few of us have the same thing because my page is missing also.
Okay. I'll speak to Ms. Dean. I'll speak to Ms. Dean and let her know perhaps something is wrong with the copying of your book.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey guys, I post the pages inside the group. Let me see.
So does it start from the picture with the gentleman, the officers and the truck? Does it start from there?
Yeah, it says, how do ISIS terrorists finance their attacks?
Case 4.
Okay. And
That's
the
case
second
4.
page after that starts with which line?
It starts with paying teachers' salaries and collecting the garbage.
Oh.
Y'all don't have it?
No.
Okay, so I posted it in the group. I'll continue.
You look like you have the same thing that I have.
But paying teachers' salary and collecting the garbage to bribe tribal leaders and paying fighters' salaries. That's the continuation.
Yes, that's the continuation.
Version?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There is, however, an entrepreneurial self-financing model that ISIS recruits and supporters around the world have been encouraged to use to fund their travel to ISIS-controlled land or perhaps their attacks in the West. While it is too soon to state that with any certainty how the Paris attacks were funded, the likelihood is that they were funded in whole or in part through local criminal activities or otherwise legal activities, such as the use of state welfare benefits or taking out a loan.
Let me just interject there, Stephen. Okay, so let's just imagine the people in Freeport and the people in Abaco that suffered from Hurricane Dorian. Weeks after, they were all brought to Nassau and they were all at social service. Now I think social service immediately gave them a disbursement. Can you imagine using that disbursement from social service and sending it on to ISIS? That's what this is saying. Or going into the bank and saying, I need a loan to pay my children's school fee, and you are approved. And you send that money on to ISIS. Okay, so anybody doing that? Anybody taking out a loan? Anybody going to on the spot financing or any of these promotions, salary deduction?
No, ma'am. No.
No, but this is what they're saying was done.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, so I guess, like I said, that's why I want y'all to read so y'all get an idea of how it is financed. Because let's remember now, Bin Laden lived for 10 years after he did September 11, right? And he lived comfortably in a house with concubines and wives and all his children eating steaks and lobsters. How did he do it, right? Because I always say, if I lose my job, I can't move home with my mommy, with my 5 children and my husband, and she take care of us and it's fine, right? She every day asks me, when you getting a job or how long you will be here? We definitely ain't sleeping in no air condition and eating steaks and lobsters every day, correct?
Correct.
Correct, okay, so continue to read.
None of these would surprise, since authorities have been tracking the use of such funding schemes by prospective foreign terrorist fighters looking to join ISIS. Indeed, earlier this year, a Financial Action Task Force, the FATF report identified several potential revenue streams for would-be foreign terrorist fighters, including robbery and drug trafficking, various social service payments, and unpaid loans. Some potential plotters or travelers took short-term jobs to raise the money, I guess that's supposed to be they needed, while others simply drew on their savings or student loan accounts. Consider a few examples. Michael Zahaf Pebu, I think, who murdered a Canadian soldier before attacking Canadian Parliament buildings in October 2014, worked at one of the Alberta oil fields to raise money for his attempted travel to Syria. Petty crime has the potential to bring in sufficient funds for a homegrown attack or transportation to a combat zone as well. There's the case of the 15-year-old boy in Montreal who held up a convenience store with a knife, stealing some $2,200 to pay for his plane ticket out of Canada. The teen's father turned him in to the police after finding the money in his son's bag. Or take the 4 men arrested in February in Brooklyn, New York, for attempting to join ISIS. Some of their funds were supplied by a supporter who operated small kiosks selling kitchenware and cell phones. According to the indictment, a round-trip ticket to Istanbul cost a mere $598. One of the defendants expected that he would not need to bring more than $400 to travel to Syria because he would not have any concerns in the land of the Islamic State. In Britain, the Metropolitan Police Counterterrorism Command Unit has noted several cases where jihadists finance themselves through state-funded welfare payments. Most recently, Yahya Rashid used his student loans and educational grants to cover the travel costs for himself and 4 friends to go join ISIS in Syria via Morocco and Turkey. Closer to home, Christopher Cornell, who stands accused of plotting to detonate pipe bombs at the US Capitol and shoot people as they ran away, simply saved money to conduct his attack, according to the FBI. In several cases, including the shooting in Canada, individuals whose travel to Syria was thwarted turned to deadly attacks at home instead, easily redirecting transportation funds towards homegrown attacks of terrorism. And while ISIS governance and military expenses in Syria and Iraq are high, carrying out an attack in the West is inexpensive. Take, for example, the January attacks in Paris against Charlie Hebdo magazine, a police officer, and a kosher grocery. Ahmedi Kalbali claimed to have helped the Koichi brothers with their project by giving them a few €1,000 so they could buy what they needed to buy. The 2 Koichi brothers reportedly received $20,000 from Al-Qaeda. Sorry, I'm a little bit dumb. Don't catch yourself. The 2 Koichi brothers reportedly received $20,000 from Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP. But the rocket-propelled grenade launcher and the Kalashnikov automatic assault rifles used by the Koichi cost less than $6,000. Kalabali himself reported to use false income statements to take out a $6,000 euro loan to finance the purchase of weapons for the attacks. And while AQAP claimed responsibility for the Koichi's attack, Kalibali self-identified with ISIS. Continue.
Okay, Stephen. Yeah, thank you very much. We'll stop right there and you can read the rest in your spare time. But remember, we read this so we can look at some of the lawful sources and then some of the unlawful sources. So we learned that it's ideological. They grew up thinking Billy Graham. Nobody can turn us against Billy Graham or T.D. Jakes and say they're not real. And so, of course, they ask for donations online and a lot of Bahamians send them, okay? Or to the Ramfley home, okay? Could we imagine donating monthly to the Ramfley home to find out that that money then goes to Al-Qaeda and they don't help the children or the children aren't being taken care of, okay? And so, like I said, this money laundering versus terrorist financing, this chart is a good chart to learn. It talks about methods and then it talks about life cycle, okay? So spend some time with that because like I said, more than likely, some of those questions will either be multiple choice or even an essay question on that, okay? So that's an overview on terrorism. The next thing about terrorism, which is asked on the exam, is normally, why do, what are their objectives? Yeah. And why are they doing this? And they do this, they have a wide variety of purposes. They are recruitment, they are training, they are weapons, they need safe havens, again, safe haven protection, again, Bin Laden living for those 10 years safe and secured and comfortable. The criminal activity that they use, again, is similar to these 21 crimes on the money laundering, which is fraud and extortion and smuggling of weapons. And we saw from the handout that they tax, imagine going to Paradise Island and you already have to pay the $2 to get over, but somebody's standing at the bottom of Paradise Island and saying, give me $5 more or I'll kill you. Okay, so they make billions of dollars that way. Okay, and again, just an overview on terrorism. Any questions on terrorism? Is it clear? Come on, y'all talk back to me. Give me some feedback.
It's clear.
It's clear.
For me, at least.
Yeah. Okay, because I like I say, what happens with this course is you end up having message overload, or information overload. So I'm trying my best to just scale down and give you the meat for, what you would need for the exams. But I do want you to leave comprehending what money laundering is, comprehending what terrorism is, what terrorism financing is, understanding domestic terrorism, knowing that there's a threat here now in the Bahamas that we need to ensure that we pay attention to, and that there is awareness, before it gets completely out of control like America. Okay?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
None for now.
None for now. Okay. Okay. So just a first class. Hopefully everybody will warm up by next week and we'll give some feedback. Normally we have a 30-minute break. Since we do a majority vote, we can either take it at 7:30 and come back at 8, or we can take it at 8:30. Most people wait to, vote to take it at 8:30, but it's up to you. Well, it's 8 o'clock now. So I guess I have one more thing before I dismiss you, and then you can let me know any questions or concerns. Another easy thing to do, most of us have Netflix, and there's a series on Netflix. It's called Dirty Money. There is I'm not certain which season it is, but it's HSBC and the Mexican drug lords. And so I want you to take some time, if you do have Netflix, take some time and watch that, because a lot of times as compliance officers, we take it to heart, when our decisions or our advice isn't put into place. And so that will give you a wake-up call and, again, create some awareness of what really happens in the real world. So HSBC against the Mexican drug lords, and it's a series called Dirty Money. So if you have some time to watch that, we will discuss that next week when we come to class. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Any questions or concerns?
This time.
No?
Not yet.
Okay. And any feedback for next week? What everybody was okay and comfortable? Was sufficient information to retain?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was just enough. 2 chapters,
okay.
So we'll be doing 2 chapters a class.
Yes, so next week, I want you to come prepared. So you would read chapters 3 and 4 is, what is 3 and 4? But the Bahamas legal system, but that's like a 1-pager, and the AML CTF program. So next 2 chapters, and come prepared to have a discussion next week.
And the homework is due.
Yeah, if you decide to do question 1, then question 1 is due on next week, Tuesday. So the homework is always due the Tuesday before class. So if you do question 1, then it must be in by 11:59 p.m. on the 24th. If you're not doing question 1, then don't worry about homework for next week. If you need to, you know, just let it sink in a little more and some more time, that's fine. But like I said, please don't wait till the end to find out that you do not understand and you're not providing the correct examples. Okay?
Okay.
So Ms. Bullard, just before you go, just so I'm clear, because I know I would have asked this question before, but I wanted to confirm, I just wanted to know if I do question 1 and turn it on the 24th or prior to the due date, and the question is not, I do not receive the mark I should for that particular question, am I able to do another one?
No, once you get the grade, that's going to be a grade.
Oh boy, okay.
Yeah, and like I said, I normally give concessions, but my concessions were abused to the max.
That was the other class, though. That wasn't.
I know you're getting beaten with their step.
Miss Bullard, I just gonna say that you cannot beat us with that step.
Life ain't fair. I'm sorry, life ain't fair.
Charlie, you shouldn't even mention that.
What if you submitted prior to the due date for your feedback and then we submit it?
Right. I mean,
okay, so let me tell you what happened with somebody with this feedback. And this is no, somebody sent me 10 versions of an essay, and I kept saying, no, you're not understanding. I even gave out my cell number and I said, call me on the phone, let me walk you through this. Stay back after class. And then I was reported to the office because I wasn't being helpful. What? I told her at the 10th submission, I said, I'm going to have to send this in for a grade because you don't understand, and I'm giving you all the pointers, and you cannot keep changing stuff to try and get 100%. Like, it doesn't work that way. You could ask for 1 set of feedback, but you can't ask for it 10 times.
Okay, we ain't gonna do that. That's ridiculous.
You need a tutor, right? That's what I said. It has gotten ridiculous till I was told after I was reported to cut all of it. Okay, cut all of it, and then they report me and say I'm not being helpful after 10 submissions. 10.
Okay, just give us 1 chance and then that's it.
Okay, 1 chance and I can give you some feedback, but this isn't like I say, this isn't because we have some people, if they don't get 100, they'll die. You know, she was one of those persons. This isn't try give me the answers, Miss Bullet, so I can get 100. This is I really want to understand, and so I'm asking questions once. Okay, not 10 times. Please.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you guys in the chat. I see Lottie is saying Ozark is also excellent. Yes, it is. And so good that some of you would have watched that already and would be familiar. But for those
I'm not even a Netflix fan.
No, but I mean, just again, awareness training. Awareness. I promise you, it's going to be an eye opener. You will fall off your feet.
You say Ozark, and what's the next one?
It's called Dirty Money.
And Narcos too, if you into that.
Yeah, but has anybody seen the Mexican drug lords and the HSBCs yet?
No.
The ones who
no.
Chelsea? No? Okay.
No.
Yeah,
Talking about are you talking about the recent that I guess the US government tried put out a bid 45 million or anything.
Oh, on that gentleman?
No, I think it's a group of drug traffickers that they're trying to get some information on.
No.
Like that.
What happened was that HSBC in Mexico knew that these persons were drug dealers, and what they did is they hyphenated the name. You see how your last name is Mcqueen? Instead of putting MCQ, they put MC-QUEEN. And so a hyphen or a period or a full stop does not allow your name to show up against word check and all the filters that do the checks to point you out that you are charged with money laundering somewhere. And so that's how they stayed under the radar. They had to put like a $sign or exclamation mark somewhere in the name or hyphens, and the system did not pick up. So when they printed reports, you know how you say you have, and that was my job at Royal Bank. We had 800 clients, and each month I had to make sure that all 800 clients reflected on my report, or I had to check the system, because you know, there are data entry errors, and that would stop that person from being flagged. And so they did that for years. But even after they were found out, they still did some things they should not have done. And this is why I want you to watch it for awareness. Okay?
Yes,
okay, good. Yeah, so all these checks and balances that we don't do and we don't have time for and that we take lightly, and the aliases that we're comfortable with, but we given access to these people, we have to be very careful. Persons are desperate. Hacking is a full-time job. Okay? And so please make sure that you're not taken advantage of. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, guys, so that's it. Please read chapters 3 and 4 and come prepared for next week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.